Okay, here's the story. Here I am. Yeah, the story. A Quiet Place by Douglas Wood. And the illustrations are by Dan and Drayson. And I have to talk about his illustrations are some of the most beautiful I've ever seen in a picture book. I love the illustrations in this story. A Quiet Place. This is the title page. You'll often see that before the story. And here's a dedication, and it says, "To all who listen." Sometimes a person needs a quiet place. Do you ever feel like that? I do. A place to rest your ears from bells ringing, whistles shrieking, grown-ups talking, and engines roaring, horns blaring, and grown-ups talking, and radios playing, and grown-ups, well, even grown-ups need a quiet place sometimes. But it can be hard to find one. You have to know where to look. You could look under a bush, a lilac bush in your own backyard. When you crawl underneath it, all the sounds of the world seem soft and far away, and you can be a pirate, finding buried treasure on a desert island. A bush could be your quiet place until someone calls you to clean your room, and then you could look in the woods. You might find an old stump for a chair, or a mossy log for a couch. In a green mansion of shadows and sunbeams. It's not really quiet, of course. Blue jays scream warnings and wind sings in the leaves. But it feels quiet, and you can be a timber wolf, the gray ghost of the forest. The woods could be your quiet place. But if the woods are too dark and too deep, you could look by the sea. On a beach in the early morning fog, your footprints are the first of the day. The waves are roaring and the gulls are crying, but it doesn't seem noisy. And you can just be an explorer, discovering a lost continent. The beach could be your quiet place. But if the beach is not your cup of tea, you could look in the desert, where Old Man Saguaro reaches for the sky, and far off thunderheads boom like sky flowers over the mess. A cactus wren drops by for a visit, while a horned toad blinks in the sun. And you can be a Pony Express rider, galloping through the Old West. The desert could be your quiet place, but if the desert is a bit too dry, that's my husband's favorite place, is the desert. You could sit by a pond. A heron by the shore stands still as a tree branch, and the water is so calm it looks like a mirror. Then a frog plops from a lily pad, and your face begins to wiggle, and you can be the world's greatest fisherman, reeling in a monster catch. A pond could be your quiet place, but if the fish aren't biting, you could look in a cavern, and where every footstep echoes, and you can hear the slow drip, drip of water, building new rocks that hang like icicles or stand like sculptures, where days and nights and weeks and years are all the same. And you can be a cave dweller in the lair of the saber-toothed tiger. A cave could be your quiet place, but if a cave is too cold and maybe too damp, you could climb to the top of a hill where clouds float by like ships, or alligators or elephants on a hilltop. You can see a long way and think long thoughts about how and what and why. And you can be a mountain climber on the top of the world. A hilltop could be your quiet place. But if your legs are too tired for climbing, then, you could wait for a snowy day. And you can lie down in a snowdrift. All around you, the falling snow whispers, shh, and wraps the world in silence. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it breathing. You breathe softly, too, pretending to be a polar bear, sleeping in a land where the snowy silence never ends. A snowdrift could be your quiet place, but if it's too warm for snowdrifts, then you could visit a museum where brass tigers and bronze lions stand silent guard over fabulous treasures. Every painting is a magic window that your own imagination can open wide and climb in through. And you can be an artist, admiring your own masterpiece. A museum could be your quiet place. But if the museum is closed for renovation, I love going to museums. You could go to the secret corner of the library where the only people talking are between the covers of a book. They speak so softly, you can only hear them in your head as you read about forests and oceans and deserts and caverns and museums and 1,000 other things. A library could be your quiet place, but if the library isn't open yet, you could come home and you can clean your room and read your own books and think your own thoughts and feel your own feelings and discover that the very best, quietest place of all, the one that's always there no matter where you go or where you stay, is the one inside of you. Ooh, I love this. You can have a quiet place wherever you go. Ooh, that was a fun story to read with you. I hope you can think about your quiet place where you like to go.